dripping.
What's dripping?
Tap.
Okay, 1 moment. You have it start, right?
Oh, I have. I'd have to turn it off, and I don't want to turn it.
Oh my god.
The tap is dripping, people.
Should I do it or no?
Mm-hmm. Please turn it off. It irritates me, right? I'm irritated, people, because now I feel silly. This is December 20th, 2018, in regards to, obviously, the trademark, which is up in the next 6 days, right? And these specimens that I'm working on. Well, I phoned them today. Right. To discuss doing this. And it turns out I'm only allowed to send one specimen per class. I have 4 classes, so that means 4 Snapchat or snap. What are those things called? What are those things called when you take a picture? Where'd you go? Oh. Anyway, those little, you just click them, right? And then 4 specimens. So here I am working on all these web pages. I started doing it. I opened up a file, and I phoned them up, and I said, "Oh, so I can send 4 or 5 of these per class, right? A variety of them." And she says, "No, just one." I said, "Tisha, what is that called? What I was screenshot? That's what it was. Yeah." I asked if I could send 4 screenshots or 5 per class, and she said, "No, you can only do 1." And I'm like, "Okay, so, well, what if I add 2?" Because I've been working so hard on this, people. I'm in my mind thinking, you got to send 4 or 5, and now I've been reduced down to 1, and I'm like, well, I'm already feeling like I'm gaslighting myself, right? In terms of 18 years later, and they're gonna slam the door in my face and say, "No, it's not good enough." Right? So I have to scrunch down 4 screenshots, or 5, preferably 5. I would have sent 5, right, per class, down to 1, as if I don't have enough panic attacks, right? Because they have to be specific in terms of if it's the goods, or if it's like goods and service goods, like if it's goods, like outfits, those are goods, right? Versus services, like the housing initiative that I just did, that was a service that I provided, right, through the foundation. And the trust accounts and that type of stuff. So anyway, she probably wants to be fed.
Yeah, I'll feed her.
That's what it is. That's Mickey jumped on the chair. So anyway, I don't have to worry about my computer not working correctly with front page right now. And my daughter said that she's going to probably buy me a computer for my birthday so that I can work on it, right, in terms of web pages and continue doing videos and whatever. I told her she didn't have to, but she insists that she wants to. So if that happens, then for sure I'll really make an effort to update, if not the majority, all of the web pages, right, in terms of the ones that I've been working on. And then regardless of what happens with the USA, right? But I feel silly that I've been stressing myself out all this time, right? And I've been reduced down to 1 screenshot per class. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm looking for screenshots, just 1 per class, that hopefully will meet the guidelines with the USA Federal Trademark Office in terms of what is a good and what is a service. And then they told me that it will take 6 to 8 weeks before I find out. I'm doing a live stream. Guess what happened? You know how we were doing all that last night with those screenshots, right? Well, we only need one sample per class. And there's four classes. I'm on live stream. There's 4 classes, so we only need 4 pictures. He showed me how to do screenshot on my keyboard with the keyboard, right? It's well, it's up there, right? It's print screen, and then you go into Paint, and then you put Alt V, and then it transfers it where you can save it into a JPEG or whatever you want, right? So that's pretty much what we were kind of doing yesterday. As you know, I'm kind of like bum rushing him. You gotta help me. You gotta help me. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. So now I'm like going through my pictures that I've already screenshot, and I'm like, well, which one do I want? Well, we want that in there, and that has to be there. And so it's like I'm playing hardball here, people. This is some serious hardball stuff. I have been playing hardball with the nonprofit and everything for a very, very, very long time. So this really isn't anything new, right? Can't find my glasses. So glad. Yeah, you got a good voice. I know. And she caught her first cold and her first fever, like just 2 days ago? 2 days ago. But she had her shots, a week and a half ago?
Just about that.
About a week and a half ago. And I told Tisha, like, you know, sometimes babies, they don't start showing symptoms until like a week or 2 after they have their shots, right? But Tisha kind of came down with a bit of a cold and whatnot. And so anyway, you know, I just showed her how to, like, you know, you break fevers in the middle of the night because that's when they come, right? They come at like 3 o'clock in the morning, right? That's when the babies really start heating up. And, you know, obviously you give them a little bit of Tylenol, right? And then you can give them a cool bath, right? Not cold, not warm, but, you know, just kind of cool, more to the tepid warm, right? And then you put them in the air with a little baby blanket on, right? With a diaper, and, you know, you let their little arms stay out, but the rest of them is covered, or you pull up the blanket a little bit over their feet, or just up by their, you know, knees, right? This is like the baby blankets, the cotton ones, right? And then this is how you just keep touching and you adjust them, and then eventually the fever breaks, right? But if the fever doesn't break and the fever keeps going up higher, then I tell her, you know, you need to take her, you know, to the hospital, right? So this was her first time being a mom in that position where her baby got a fever, and then in the night with Shemaine, that was the first time Amari had ever been sick. And Tisha, as a matter of fact, even said today that you know, despite Amari's condition, he never gets sick. So, and I started to give him iodine in his soup. I make pea soup and start incorporating more homemade soups with the what is it called? Chicken broth and, you know, beef broth, and so that he gets those nutrients from, you know, because he can't necessarily eat a lot of meat because it will constipate him, right? Especially beef. So, you know, I'm like always thinking about, you know, in terms of building in a regular scheduled, I guess you could say, diet where I know he's getting his B12s and that type of stuff, right? We're still probably a little shy on the vitamin C's because we don't really give him oranges and stuff. So maybe we should try and get some mandarin oranges and just maybe like juice them or something and let him have a little bit of that. We give him apple juice. I made this beautiful, 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 real rich, tasty red grape juice. I have video of it, but the lady who gave me the red grapes only gave me a little bit, and oh God, it was so delicious.
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh, I know. And I still have one jar, right? I saved some seeds, and I'm going to try and grow the seeds in the spring from those red grapes that she gave me. The problem with growing grapes from seeds, though, is that when it takes a long time to grow a grapevine, and then once they start producing grapes, boy, oh boy, they really start to produce them, right? But you don't know what kind of gene, I guess you can say, in terms of whether it's going to be a green grape or a red grape. No, these ones will come more like purple, right? And they were so good and so rich and made really, really, really good grape juice. And Amari really liked it. Right. So
Cat.
anyway, now you can go to these Oriental food stores, right? And you can buy. I don't have them on me now. I had a little pack here earlier, like a couple days ago, but Andres decided that he likes them, and this is good because you can never get enough iodine. The thing about natural iodine, which comes from a seaweed, because that's what now I put in Amari's soup, because they come in very paper thin, like thinner than a sushi wrap, right? And maybe not so much these days. What, you can't get enough iodine? Is I'm trying to have a conversation with you now, right? Well, anything in today's term, we don't get enough vitamins or minerals or nutrients. That is true because our earth has been, the dirt has been eroded. It's erosion, right? And just the chemical pollutants and what comes in down from the rain. And so, like in my grandmother's days, they lived longer and were healthier because the foods that they came into contact themselves had higher nutrients as they were growing up from the root or from the tree, because the nutrients were actually in the ground. And iodine, though, you can only get in certain places. You can only really get it from seaweed, from the ocean, right? And then there's a rock form of it of some kind. But outside of that, there's nowhere else. I know she is. She's decided that she likes being with me now, right? She was like, she's got this new wine about her after her cold, eh? And I said, well, just give her to me because she likes it here, right? She doesn't mind it. She likes looking around, So anyway, back to iodine. So, if you're on a limited diet, I guess you could say, and even then, most of us don't get enough iodine, right? It's just not in our foods. It's not something that they can put into foods necessarily, right? And and it's not, you can't overdo on iodine. So here's the thing about iodine, though. We know that Japan, right, with the nuclear reactors at TEPCO back in March of 2011. Was it 11? I think it was 11. Those reactors are still leaking, and that's what the public is being kind of somewhat told about. They have other issues out there. Those weren't the only 3 reactors that were damaged when that earthquake came with the tsunami, right? And they're dumping a lot of their radiation into the sea, not to mention what they've been burning. And you can't get rid of radiation that way. You can't burn the garbage and think that the radiation will go away when in fact it goes up into the atmosphere, and then it travels with the winds, and then it combines itself because they're heavy metals, right? And then when the clouds get heavy, you'll get spot rains, where over here you're going to get a shower of radiation because the particles have bound and combine themselves, right? Or maybe over there, when it rains, you won't necessarily get it. So at the time when those reactors blew, that's why throughout all of North America, in terms of the United States and Canada, there were hot spots, right? In different states and in different provinces where the radiation levels were very concentrated due to that fact, right? And most people aren't prepared for their thyroids to be inundated with a isotope that is radioactive versus having iodine already in the thyroid because you eat it regularly through your diet. So the best source really is seaweed. It's just you have to require a taste for it, or you have to put it into food where you don't necessarily taste it. And that's what I've started to do with Amari, right? And Andre likes these little sheets. Next time I do this, I'll bring one here. So when I do a live, I'll show what I'm talking about. And you can either put them into the soup or, just to introduce for your own children or whoever, because everybody needs it. You can snack on them or you can put them into food, and then you can incorporate it into your diet almost daily. And then what happens is the iodine just naturally kind of migrates. Certain things go to certain parts of the body in terms of the minerals and whatnot, right? So the iodine will obviously start to accumulate in your thyroid, wherever that is on your body, to the point where it's full. The thyroid is full, right? So that, let's just say, another reactor or those reactors that are still spewing out radiation into the environment, right, blow their stacks again. And we've got another hot wave coming in our direction from ocean, air, right? Your thyroid will already be protected. It will already be protected because if it's full, it cannot absorb more. That's from what I understand, right? Through that crisis. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. The topic was, for the last 5 days, I've been stressing myself out, although I have no regrets because I'm happy with the web pages that I did accomplish to update. And it's motivated me to continue working on updating them more throughout the year of 2019. So that's good. And for as complicated as I'm thinking this registration process is, I don't think it's that complicated when you only need to submit 4 samples, right? And being that I've been working on the nonprofit for a long time, I'd like to think that there really shouldn't be any problem as long as I screenshot the right picture, I guess you can say, specimen. They call it a specimen, right? So we're going to leave it at that. She fell asleep. If we put her down, she'll probably wake up and start whimpering. She's still not really feeling that great, but she's better than she was. She doesn't have a fever, right? Okay, peace out. Hold on. What's this? You have been on med for thyroid. Not into that no more. I'm tired too. Yeah. Well, like I said, the next time I do a live feed, I'll bring out those little packets of seaweed that you can eat them like a chip. They're really not that bad. They're quite good. And Andre likes it, so Andre will eat them. And so if Andre is eating them, then it's not that bad. And they're easy enough to put into baby's food because they're so thin, right? And they can't choke it because it's so thin, right? And again, you do it regularly, and eventually your thyroid just fills up with the iodine to the point where the thyroid itself becomes protected from isotopes that are radiated that come in as an iodine, right? But it just won't go in. It can't pass through what's already there. But in today's term, the way our diets are, the majority of us are lacking in iodine, right? Yeah, but most people don't eat seaweed because of the taste, right? But I'm going to show you a way how you can introduce it into your children's diet regularly, daily, if you wanted to, and everybody else in the family for that matter. And it would be perfectly fine in terms of improving your long-term health, because it's something that accumulates in the thyroid, and then it just builds in that natural barrier, that natural protection, so that if the nuclear plants in Japan and TEPCO and on, they just blow more stacks and put more pollution into the air and more into the whatever. By the time it comes to you in a big wave and rains down on you, you're going to be protected, at least from that perspective. Because and I'll end it on this note, and I know it's true. I know it happens because, Tisha, you'll probably remember this. Okay. Fukushima. I know I haven't talked about Fukushima for a long, long time. It blew its stack in March, right? I can't remember the exact day, but anyway, it blew its stack in March. And it was a big kerfuffle. The Canadian government shut down their radiation detectors. I think even the USA shut down their radiation detectors. It was big kerfuffle, right? And, everybody was just trying to blow it off like it was nothing, right? So anyway, where I live, in the month of April, in the month of April, where I live, they have such a thing as called an annual spring cleanup, where it runs for a week. Okay. And this is how I know it's in the rain, people, because I got caught up in it. All right. It runs for a week. And so what happens is people put their stuff outside, and then, people come along and they can help themselves, and whatever's left behind is all picked up by the city and thrown out in the garbage after the end of the week. Right. So that they do that once a year, like clockwork. So anyway, I was participating in that for that year. Right. I'm pretty sure it was 2011. Andre, can you just wait? I'm almost done. And, we're going back and forth. I'd load up old Betsy and, roll come home, unload it and go back out and fill up old Betsy and come home. And right. So anyway, this is throughout 3 or 4 days. Right. So I went out one day, it was with you, right? Yeah. It was with Tisha. And it's been raining. It's been raining, right? For the last week from the time. Okay. So long story short, we were at, curbside pile. And boy, oh boy, it was, it was trenches. It was like just the water was just, it was horrendous. It was just, it kept coming down, and it was a freaking storm. And it was bad. And we got caught up in it. Okay. Because we were right in the middle. Of going through this pile and putting things in the car, and and then all of a sudden it started to rain, and it didn't rain. It was torrid. It was just coming down in freaking buckets, and it was dark. It was dark because it was getting dark, right? But for some reason, when the cloud came and just dumped it on Delta, it was dark. Everything just got dark real fast. Okay, so now I'm in the car. I'm soaking wet, Tisha's soaking wet. Not so much Tisha, it was more like me, right? But she got in, she got it too, right? And we came home, and people, I don't get sick very much. I really don't. For as much stress as I go through, and for as hard as I work, and for all the grody shit that I come into contact with, and and just everything that I do in a day, I really don't get sick very often, right? But after that, it took a couple of weeks, a week or whatever it was. Boy, I'll tell you, all I did was sleep. All I did, if you get radiation poisoning, that's what will happen. You'll sleep. Your family will sleep, because don't forget, it was raining for that week, right? But I just happened to get caught up in a really torrential rain, right? But because everybody else was going in and out of the house, in the rain with their, clothes, and weren't necessarily using umbrellas and just whatever, because it comes in on your clothes as well, right? Or if you're in the rain, it's you're being contaminated. So long story short, everybody got sick. Everybody got sick in the second week of April after Fukushima radiation blew its stack. And some of us obviously worse than others, right? Tisha, you had what? You got really dry lips. She got really, really, really dehydrated very quickly. Did you have a rash, or was that Shmei?
I don't remember that.
Okay, then it would have been Shmei. I think Shmei got the rash. Everybody had diarrhea, right? Because again, people going in and out, whatever, right? Shimei got a rash. Tisha, because Tisha was in the rain with me, right? Her lips, she got really dehydrated. I don't think she got a rash, but I'm pretty sure Shimei got a rash. Auntie Joan got sick. Uncle John, everybody got sick. And for me, I slept like people slept. They didn't want to eat. They did a lot of sleeping, So when it comes to seaweed and introducing it into your diet, where you're getting a natural iodine to build up that natural protection against radiation that comes in through a false iodine, right? Because of the isotopes that are being, thrown into the atmosphere or into our oceans. It is a very easy way to protect your thyroid by introducing iodine. So I found a really good way to introduce iodine to Amari's diet, and it turns out Andre doesn't mind it, and he's been snacking on them. I think they're pretty good. So the next time I do a video, I'm going to bring that little packet so you'll know what to look for, right? When you go out shopping, and you can start introducing it to, to your own family. Yeah, well, Fukushima, I'm going to end it on this, I guess. I have two samples already picked out. I still have to pick 2 more samples for my specimens. I'm at my wit's end. I'm very, very nervous. I feel like I'm at the end of the line and my life is on the line. I told that to the trademark agent today. I feel like my life is on the line here. 18 years is a very long time to be working on something. I've been working on it really hard. Really, I have. So, anyway. Anything else? Happy to just be here, right? I'm going to go see a physiotherapist next month for this pressure that I have every day, right? This ringing in my ears. And I have that problem with the bottom of your feet underneath in that arch. There's a name for it, right? And mine's like really, really bad. So I don't think he could do anything for my feet, but he might be able to do something for this up here, because it makes life hard to, move along with, right? In terms of just having more energy. So I know what it feels like to be tired, right? I wake up tired. I go to bed tired and I wake up tired. I wake up more tired than when I go to bed tired. And I usually push myself off to the limit, right? In terms of the hours I put in a day. So, okay. So now we're just chatting. So I'm going to end this stream down to 4 specimens instead of 20. Right? And a good way to bring iodine to your thyroid is just to eat natural seaweed. And the next time I do a video, I'll come in with something that is quite reasonable, where you can give it to children and they'll more than likely like it, as well as it's something that you can snack on daily if you wanted to too. Just wanted to keep everybody up in the loop, because I am kind of feeling silly now.